If you're new to League or looking to climb out of low elo the fastest, then this video is for you. Today, we'll be breaking down 2 champions for each role who will help you improve the quickest and see your rank skyrocket. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Every top laner who's learning League should have Garen in their champion pool. Garen is the perfect top laner for new players for many different reasons. Zero skill shots is a big one, as you never have to worry about missing your spells. Garen's combos are also very easy to get a grasp of and don't require any high level of mechanical skill to use. Simply using Q, E into R can be done with your eyes closed, yet can easily 100 to 0 a squishy target. Garen's build is really nice too because it provides a good mix of damage and durability. This allows you to force fights more and test your limits because you're not as worried about dying right away. What we'll find with new players who choose very vulnerable champions is that they never go in and don't actually learn what their champion is capable of because they're always afraid of dying. With Garen, you don't have to worry about this, and can therefore take the champion to his limits much faster. The core build to run for Garen is a Stridebreaker Rush into Mortal Reminder 2nd and Deadman's Plate 3rd. For runes, run Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Best secondaries are Conditioning and Overgrowth. Our next top lane pick is Mordekaiser, and he takes a little more skill to play than Garen, but is still a great pick for low elo or newer players. Mord Q has a pretty big hitbox, so it's not the most difficult skill shot to land. However, his E will take a little bit of time to get used to. The crazy thing about Mord, though, is that half the time you won't even need to hit your spells to win out in fights, as your passive damage with auto attacks will often be enough if you have the enemy in your ultimate. Mordekaiser is an absolute unit in the 1v1 whenever his ultimate is available, which allows you to decimate other players who lack game knowledge. In the lower ranks, players will not respect the potential of Mord with ultimate, which will lead you to getting so many free kills. Players in the lower ranks are way more likely to just dive right in and not care about what champions are in the game, so it gives Mord really good value. Being able to take out that fed assassin as they try to dive your back line can be massive. Just like Garen, Mord is able to build a very potent hybrid setup where he does lots of damage but is still difficult to take down. Riftmaker Rush into Rylai's 2nd and Demonic Embrace 3rd is the core. For runes, you will take Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Optimal secondaries include Second Wind and Revitalize. For the jungle role, our #1 recommendation to climb ranked for newer players is Shyvana. Shyvana is exactly what you want in an optimal low elo jungler, as she helps you be consistent each and every game. With Shyvana, you're going to want to full clear almost every single game and reach level 6 as quick as possible. Putting your focus on farming and securing as many dragons as possible are obtainable goals to try and accomplish each game. Shyvana's passive allows her to deal bonus damage to dragons, and when she kills dragons, she receives bonus armor and magic resist. With dragons becoming stronger a few patches back, it makes Shyvana even more ridiculous for the lower elos, where priority on dragons will not be as high. This is a big reason to why Shyvana's solo queue win rate is so much higher for the lower ranks, as she can consistently secure dragon more reliably. Mid-game spike is where you can take over with Shyvana, and since lower elo games tend to last longer, Shyvana fits in really well. The build consists of a Frostfire Rush into Demonic Embrace 2nd and Warmog's 3rd. For runes, pick up Press the Attack with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Conditioning and Overgrowth are the best secondaries. The second jungler you should highly consider to greatly enhance your ability to climb out of low elo is Trundle. Trundle and Shiv are both super easy to pick up, but they play a little bit differently, which helps you narrow down which to choose. Shyvana is much more focused on farming, while Trundle has superior dueling power and the ability to force plays early on. If you like being aggressive right from the jump, then side with Trundle, whereas if you prefer a farming scaling pick, Shyvana is the way to go. Trundle is a beast of a jungler if you're new to League, or even just the role. Trundle has nearly unmatched 1v1 power and dominates all the most played junglers in low elo. Since Trundle steals the enemy's AD when he chomps them with Q, he wants to play into physical damage junglers, and 8 of the 10 most popular low elo junglers are exactly that. Thanks to Trundle's ultimate, he can become this raid boss who can still deal an immense amount of damage. Divine Sunderer Rush into Titanic Hydra 2nd and Thornmail or Blade of the Ruined King 3rd is the build. Lethal Tempo is the optimal keystone, followed by Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Run Freeboots and Approach Velocity for secondary runes. Moving on to mid lane, it's going to be Heimerdinger locking down the first spot. Heimer is a very easy mid lane champion to pick up and see success with right away. Placing down turrets and perma-shoving the enemy under tower is a surefire way for you to come out ahead in every single lane, and it takes no skill whatsoever. Lower elo players really suck at farming under tower, so by constantly pushing the enemy in, you can amass huge advantages. Melee mids are the most common in solo queue right now, which makes Heimer even better. One exception to this is Yasuo, as his wind wall can counter you pretty hard, so just ban him out. Hold on to your E and only throw it out if the enemy tries to dive onto you. As long as you do this, there should be no way that an enemy melee ever outtrades you. With Heimer's strong objective control, you can easily cheese out early Barons. Lower ranked players will never expect it, so if you have a champion on your team who can tank the Baron for you, look to communicate with them and take full advantage of this. Heimer's build is a Liandry's Rush into Zhonya's second and Rylai's third. For runes, it's Comet with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm with perfect timing and biscuits for secondaries. There really isn't a more perfect champion for new players than Annie. Every new player should put some time into Annie, as she's a champion that will easily allow you to improve the quickest. Of course, Annie's W and R are skill shots, but they are insanely easy to land to the point where they shouldn't even be classified as skill shots. Farming is one of the most important fundamentals to learn when new to League, and Annie helps with that tremendously. Being able to use Q to last hit minions is a massive help, as autoing for last hits can be very difficult at first. Since you don't have to be as precise when using Q to last hit, it allows you to shift your focus onto other elements, like trading when the enemy goes for last hits, or looking at the mini-map on a consistent basis. You'll be less worried about what you need to accomplish mechanically with Annie, and can focus your efforts on learning macro, which is actually what makes you a better player. Eluden's Rush into Shadowflame's second and Rabadon's third is the core build. Take Electrocute with Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collector, and Relentless Hunter for primary runes. Mana Flow and Absolute Focus are the go-to secondaries. Without question, the only ADC you should be spamming when new to the game is Misfortune. MF is an excellent choice, as her kit requires way less mechanical skill to pull off than the majority of ADCs. With most other ADCs, you'll be spending way too much time thinking about how to pilot your champion. MF has a much more linear kit where she can be useful with the press of one button. You don't even need to auto attack to be more useful in teamfights than the enemy ADC, which is pretty insane. It's not like MF is even weak in meta either, as she's a great pick even for the higher elos right now. The fact she's so simple to play and is also an S tier pick makes her a no-brainer for new players. Crit build becomes stronger in 12.17, but lethality will still be viable as well. Lethality is going to be most optimal into heavy squishy comps, while crit works best into more bruisers or tanks. Now that an E max has been nerfed, running press the attack as the keystone becomes stronger. Sorcery is what you should take for secondaries with Mana Flow and Gathering Storm. The second best bot lane carry for new players is not actually a traditional ADC, as Veigar takes the spot. Veigar is an extremely consistent pick for the lower ranks because he's always going to provide something for his team. The zone control from E, along with the ability for Veigar to infinitely scale, makes him super potent regardless of your skill level. Like Annie, Veigar wants to be last hitting minions with his Q, so it makes farming a little easier on you. The one-shot power at level 6 when paired with an aggro support is really nuts, and you can make the enemy ADC super useless. Positioning in the lower ranks is often very poor, so it makes lining up your cage and trapping the enemy ADC much easier. You can also run Teleport as your secondary summoner spell on Veigar, which allows him to cheat lane. If you take a bad trade as a traditional ADC, you're often forced to lose a wave or two. With Veigar, you can just teleport back to lane and everything is fine. Veigar's build is an Everfrost Rush into Rabadon's second and Zhonya's third. For runes, take Electrocute with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ingenious Hunter. Mana Flow and Transcendence are optimal secondaries. One of the most devastating supports for lower elos who's easier than most would think is Brand. Brand does have a couple skill shots in his kit, but in reality, you don't even need to hit them to be impactful. Games in lower ranks tend to last longer, which gives Brand a greater chance of hitting his godly Liandry's and Demonic Embrace power spike. With those two items completed, all you have to do is press R when the enemy team is grouped up, and you'll solo win games. Positioning is not a strong suit for other new players, so finding the enemy team bunched up for multi-man ult plays will occur very often. With Brand's percent health damage from passive, he has incredible Baron and Dragon taking power, which 99% of other supports do not have. This gives you a much greater incentive to focus on objectives and improve your macro play, as it's especially rewarding for Brand. The core build consists of a Liandry's Rush into Demonic Embrace second and Rylai's third. Runes are Dark Harvest with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Treasure Hunter. Pick up Mana Flow and Scorch for secondaries. Our second support recommendation is Soraka, and she's a little easier than Brand, but doesn't have the same kind of solo carry power. If you'd rather deal a ton of damage and be the carry, then Brand is the obvious choice, but if you prefer buffing up your carries and allowing them to thrive, Soraka is one of the best for new players. Soraka's point-and-click heals from W and Ultimate are insanely easy to use and will single-handedly win you fights. Soraka can really thrive in the lower ranks due to the misconception new players have of not focusing the support. Newer low elo players will often always focus the carries first, which allows for Soraka to excel. Although you can see really good success right away with Soraka due to her point-and-click heals, the champ has a very underrated laning phase if you can hit your Q skill shot, so it's really rewarding if you put the time into her. Reaching Warmogs is basically GG for Soraka, and because you don't want to purchase it until 3rd, Soraka loves the lower ranked, longer lasting games. The rune page for Soraka is Airy with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, Roll with Bone Plating, and Revitalize for secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So, those are the 10 champions we would highly advise you play, either if you're new to the game or are looking to escape low elo the fastest. Thanks for watching, good luck with your ranked endeavors, and we will see you in the next one.